We are in the Rufiji district in Tanzania.
It started as a dispensary and it has been expanding dramatically up to now. It serves the big population of people in Rufiji, even Mozambique, Comoro, they come here.
I think this is a wonderful way to get started. I think that with our good luck and our good prayers, we'll have a good patient outcome.
I'm here in Africa as part of the ISMS mission to take care of children with burns, adults with burns, and any hand problem that we can reasonably solve.
I'm a GYN surgeon from the States, and I'm here to operate on women and take care of them.
I'm a German pediatrician, so staying with the children in the ward, looking for them, giving pediatric care.
There are cases that you don't really see back home. A lot of thyroids, kids with hydroceles.
Large hernias, the goiters, the burns, cleft lips, cleft palates.
A lot of times problems that just haven't been treated because there's no access to health care here.
It's the hardest case under the hardest conditions with equipment that sometimes doesn't work.
The OR has only one operating room table that's functioning, that there are no electrocautery machines, no OR lights. We started contacting different charities to collect items, and eventually we shipped 2 full containers.
We brought enough equipment to set up 3 of the operating rooms. We had lights put in, we put in the surgical beds, and we brought all the surgical trays and sutures and medications that we need to perform the surgeries.
Get everything. Sorry, can you repeat that? This is our main supply room, so this is where we come to get all of our things for the cases.
This is where we're going to receive the patients. We'll start their IVs, start antibiotics, we'll weigh the patients, and then they'll go back out before the surgery.
Equipment has to get set up, the equipment has to function, everything has to get tested. The patients all have to get seen, they have to get triaged. All this is done in a day.
At home, we have so much abundance of health and resources. Here you got to think twice before you move and pick up a bunch of sponges. But if you use them up, there's going to be nothing left for somebody else.
That was a 6-year-old child who had a snake bite about 3 years ago. When the snake bit him, it took out a chunk of his flesh, and he had a Band-Aid put on by a local doctor. And when the Band-Aid was put on, they actually put it too tight and his thumb was stuck to his palm. What we did was I released the contracture and we put skin grafts on to give him mobility of his thumb back. His parents actually came all the way from the Serengeti, which is about 2,000 kilometers away, and they took a bus and did this whole journey to get here, and it was just profound to be able to help them and see the tears in the parents' eyes after they saw the child.
How can you put a price on the use of a child's hand? Can't.
Cleft palate, hydrocephalus, and all these plastic cases, we were not able to do it before.
As we evolved, it became more about not only treating as many patients as we could, but also teaching.
It has to be a hands-on teaching. We can't just drop a box and say, okay, use everything in that container.
There were 60 people in the classroom trying to join and trying to practice with us, and they're requesting a new teaching tomorrow already.
The hospital has a group here called the Compassion Group, and it's headed by a public health nurse here and a few other hospital staff. And they support a group of orphans and other vulnerable children in the area. So we donated clothes and shoes and soap, toothbrushes, things that none of these children have.
I was expecting the poverty, but it's still
different when you see it in person. We've also been providing educational resources to the schools where these children go. One of our bigger projects that we're doing is providing uniforms for the children.
Before we came, we commissioned the tailor to measure all the kids in the elementary school and the middle school and make uniforms for them, because some kids cannot go to school if they don't have uniforms.
These children walk many kilometers to school every day. Many of them don't have shoes, and they show up every single day because they're eager to learn. Their thirst for knowledge and education and their excitement to be there was really amazing.
There was a child that was born the day after we arrived, and the local doctor came and told me, we have a child born with 2 heads. So he brought me to the ward, and I saw the child who had a large mass next to his head.
The big encephalocele was quite complicated because it was really huge, so the baby was lacking a lot of fluid after.
One way of treating it is to connect a little tube inside the cavity. The tube goes under the skin all the way into the belly, so the fluid comes from the brain, and rather than expanding that cavity and pressing the brain, it drains into this tube into the belly, where typically fluid gets absorbed in the belly.
So operation's done. We could remove and reduce the encephalocele, move it back in, put a shunt in place. Shunt is running. Baby is already extubated, crying next door.
Good morning, Mary. You've been here since last night?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. She's sucking well? She's sucking well?
Ananyonya vizuri mama? Alikuwa usiku ananyonya vizuri, sasa hivi ndo analia hata.
Analia, okay. She said in the evening she was sucking very well.
Yeah.
Now the baby is crying, so the nurses are getting her some pain relief. So the shunt is pumping very nice.
Joto lilipanda usiku.
Lilipanda usiku na sasa hivi?
Sasa hivi ndo.
Labda ulisikia vibaya, ulisikia vizuri?
Nisikia ni jambo la kawaida tu kwa sababu ndo lishatokea finally.
Tell her good luck.
Mwambie hongera.
3 days now after surgery, she's nursing, she's moving. It's really very gratifying.
It's a miracle that the baby was born 2 days before we got here. Like, that's not a plan. And then the baby would have died. And it just so happened that we were here, and now the baby's so great. It's like, that was very moving.
There's so much need here for help that we work in 12, 14-hour days, and there's no end.
You know, you want to do a lot more for them, but you're here for such a short period of time, and I would love to join ISMS for a second time around.
I hope it will not be the end. I hope that we will continue to communicate and they will come again, because to start is one thing, but if you don't do again, it is like you provoked someone to eat and then you don't bring another food.
The hardest part of these missions is the cases you have to say no to. When I first arrived, the head doctor came up to us and said, "You're the gynecologist, you're not leaving. We have so many cases. We've turned away an inordinate amount of cases."
They keep asking me to come back. When am I going to come back? Next week? I have 100 more patients for you to see.
Going to a different part of the world and providing care to people who never had access to it, and they're in the circumstances due to no fault of their own, it changes your outlook on life, on the world. And every time I do one of these trips, it really helps me understand what's important.
a learning experience every time you go to these places. So each time is a humbling experience. That's it.